Well, hello everybody, we're back again. It's a miserable, soaking wet, horrible day outside, so whilst the wife and kids are away, the kitchen table's free, so we're going to have a look at the carburetors. Now these have been on the bike for ages and still leaking out fuel. I'm glad I've got this here, and actually I don't like the look of the colour of that, so maybe it's a good idea we're having a look. But they've been on the bike for ages whilst I've been doing the build, once the engine and everything went back in. And I knew that they were letting fuel through, so I wasn't going to bother having a look at them. Because I had it running, as you'll remember in earlier videos. However, I had to take them out to change the throttle cables, which as you can see are connected right in the middle, and of course on the bike you've got all the frame and everything comes right over here, so they're really difficult to get to. Easiest way, whip them out, take them apart, and I can have a look at them. Yeah. Now that has got fuel coming from there, so that's a bit intriguing. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by taking the float balls off and have a look just to make sure that everything's in good order there. Now as I'm looking at these, I don't know if you can see it with the light that you've got there, but there's little bits of what looks like silicon on here. So these have obviously been apart at some point and not very well put back together again. There should be a rubber O-ring in there. It may be that I'll have to use gasket seal to put them back together again. But we'll take them apart, we'll have a look and see what they're like, and see what we find. One thing to point out here, you notice these are crosshead screws. If you don't get the right size screwdriver, you can end up knackering them. So you see that, you see the wiggle on that. That's I think that's a number 2 screwdriver. Not the one to go for. That one sits in nice and deep and there's no wiggle, so that one is the one that you want. These are notoriously hard to get out, and the trick is, before you loosen them, you tighten them slightly. Yeah. Now that one is not going to come out very easily because it's obviously been mullered in the past. You kind of get a good bite in there, so we'll have to hope that it'll just click. Oh, fortunate. And actually looking at that, you can see down the side of here where somebody's actually smacked it with a chisel or something to get it loosened before. So yeah, that's them 3 loosened off. Let's see if we can get these 3. Well, we're doing okay so far. This one here, don't know if you can make out those little lines on the side there, but that looks like there's been a pair of grips on there in the past. So it could be an idea for me to get a new set of screws to put back in there, because if there's any damage on them, every time you take them out, they just get worse. And if you look at that, that is all gunky and greasy, which makes me think that when I open these pots up, it's going to look a bit gungy in there, and it is going to be a good idea to clean these things out. So we do both pots at the same time, just for a bit of fun. I realise this is the first time you've actually seen me doing the work, yeah, just to prove that I don't take it to a garage and then talk about it afterwards, or have somebody else in the wings doing all the work. These are my hands, and I hope you're enjoying it. Well, nearly there, nearly there. That other one's, another one a bit gungy. This one's going to be tricky to get a hold of. But we're nearly there. So, come on out of there, you. There we go. That's the 3 out. So, oh, and there we are. Look at all that pretty silicon. Doing a grand job. And a bit of residue in the bottom of the pot, and that of course at some point could cause a blockage. That is also where the bleed screw is to drain out the float chambers if you're needing to refresh your fuel, which doesn't make it quite so easy, because if there's all that crap in the bottom of there, when you undo the screw, that just goes in and blocks it. This is one of the reasons when the liquid form, this sort of sealant, is not always the best choice. And there we go, there's your filter, your seal rather, and that's supposed to be almost like O-ring style shape. It is completely flat, so I think we'll have a new set of them and treat these carbs to a bit of love. So that's the, you can see they put the gasket seal stuff on both sides, plugged the thing in and stuck them all together. Pretty, eh? So that's one part off, and judging by that, looks like there's a bit of water in there. That is what you get, water in your petrol. Bit of corrosion, bit of rubbish, and all that sort of junk. And that actually is lying in one of the little feed chambers. Not the best place. So let's have a look and see what this one's like. And yep, yeah, again we've got that lovely string of sealer in there. Let's have a look, and another flat gasket. Yeah, definitely going to be a set of gaskets into there. Now, this float bowl though does look a bit cleaner. If you look in there, there's no rusty rubbish in there. It has actually been scratched out at some point, and I don't think that was me that done that. So somebody's obviously been in and had a look, possibly the previous owner, one that I bought it from, who was thinking of doing it as a project and then changed his mind and sold it instead. So what else have we got in here? Got a little rubber bung there, which is a little bit perished, so it might be a carb rebuild kit on the way. Yeah, and that one likewise is looking a bit perished. Don't know what they're for. I'll have to look it up. But there's still petrol in there. There is there. That's petrol lying there. Yeah. Maybe with a little bit of water, but no rusty junk. This is the reason I don't like gasket seal, because it does that. That was actually lying right in against the valve that feeds the fuel through to the carburetor, and that could easily be blocking up the passage, and we'd end up with an engine running on one side, which wouldn't be the ideal method. So now I'm actually looking to try and get these pins out and get the floats lifted out so we can have a look at the needles and see what they're like. Grab whatever you can find to hand, and somehow, some reason, I find a knoppy pin, which does bemused me because my kids are long since nappies, being 15 and 17, and there's your valve. And that rubber there, it doesn't look too bad. Might be a slight amount of perishing on it. I think a rebuild kit could be a good idea. Floats seem solid, there's no fuel in them or anything, so they're obviously still floating. Yeah, I think there's going to be a little toothbrush and a bit of WD-40 in here, give them a bit of a clean through. But certainly, and that one's alright. Where's that valve gone? There we go. And this one looks in better condition actually. There's no rubber residue or anything on there. So yeah, that looks okay, that. Maybe it has been tracked well over the years. But there we go. Get some of these bits of rubbish out of there, and that doesn't seem too bad. Test these. No, there's no feel of anything in there, so that's good. One thing I used to do, just to test them, you don't want to get your lips around there, because that petrol doesn't taste very pretty, let's say that much. So let's have a quick look. Since I'm in the kitchen, it's handy to find things. Everybody is against the idea of plastic straws these days, but I find the occasional plastic straw can come in handy in your toolbox, for the simple reason that they fit neatly over there. And that seems to be going through okay. So does that one. That one might be a bit more of a question mark. No, that's okay. That was going okay as well. You can tell by the sound of them, and what you get was when I was blowing through there, I was getting some sound from around this area, which you can hear is very high hiss. But then if you notice the lower tone, if we do that again, that's actually coming out of here. So you know that your air is actually passing through and coming out in the chamber. So if all four of them do that, you know that you're getting your fuel through. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, although it's some time since I've fiddled with carburetors before, one of these is actually your tick over jet, and the other one is your performance jet. So your tick over will dribble through a little bit of fuel all the time. The performance one is more accessible when the throttle gates are opened up. So there we go. Now the other thing to check, looking in here, is this action. Now what this is the sliders, which have got the pins attached, which drop into the jets. The pin will actually close the jet down, and it's as you perform that you get a vacuum pressure lifting there and lifting those. Or is it? Yeah, I think that is. I think it's all on vacuum pressure. Yeah, that's on vacuum pressure. Though it actually lifts those. Because these, that's your throttle on that side, and this one is your choke on this side. Yeah, so when those butterflies are closed, you've got less air coming through from the air filters on this side, and when these butterflies are opened, you've got more mixture coming through to the carburetors. So these work on vacuum from that, and they will lift the jets. So there we go. I think they're working pretty okay. They need clean out down here, possibly some replacement bungs and seals, and possibly some replacement jets for the float needles. Yeah. So there we go. That was a worthwhile experience, and I hope you learned something from it. What I'll do is I'll get some bits ordered for that, and get them chucked back together, and they'll be back on the bike as soon as I can, possibly next week. I think we might have some better weather by then. So there you go. That's going to be a video by itself, I think. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll speak again soon. Bye for now.